Hello everyone, my name is Mini Sethi. I hope you all are staying healthy. Today we are going to talk about classical theory of interest. This theory is given by economists like J.S. Mill, Marshall and Pigou. According to this theory, rate of interest is determined at the point where demand for capital is equal to supply of capital. According to this theory, rate of interest is determined at the point where demand for capital is equal to supply of capital. That's why in this theory we will study about what is supply of capital, what is demand for capital, determination of interest rate and criticism of this theory. So let's start it. So firstly, we are going to talk about what is supply of capital. In simple words, we can say that supply of capital is cash or liquid assets available in economy. Supply of capital is cash or liquid asset available in economy. And how much capital will available in economy, it will depend on saving. Obviously, people will save more money in banks, then more capital will available in economy. But saving depend on interest rate. When interest rate increase, people will save more money in banks. On the other hand, when interest rate fall, people will save less money in banks. In this diagram, you can see on x-axis we have quantities of capital, or we can say that on x-axis we have saving, and y-axis we have interest rate. When interest rate is 5%, saving is 100. But when interest rate increase from 5% to 10%, saving also increase 100 to 200. So we can say that saving and interest rate have a positive relation. When interest rate increase, saving also increase. When interest rate fall, saving also fall. This SS is our saving curve. This saving curve also represent our supply of capital, because our supply of capital depend on saving. That's why according to this theory, saving and supply of capital both are same. Now we are going to talk about demand for capital. According to this theory, people do demand for capital, or we can say that people do demand for money for investment purpose. So we can say that demand for money depend on investment, but investment depend on interest rate. For example, if interest rate is very high, people will take less money from banks for investment purpose. On the other hand, when interest rate fall, people will take more money from banks for investment purpose. In this diagram, you can see on x-axis we have quantities of capital, or we can say that x-axis we have investment, and y-axis we have rate of interest. When interest rate is 5%, investment is 200. As interest rate increase from 5% to 10%, our investment fall 200 to 100. So we can say that investment and interest rate have a negative relation. When interest rate increase, investment fall. When interest rate fall, investment increase. This II represent our investment curve. This II investment curve also represent demand for money, because our demand for money depend on investment. That's why according to this theory, investment and demand for money both are same. Now we are going to talk about determination of interest rate. According to this theory, interest rate will determine at the point where demand for capital is equal to supply of capital. As we know, demand for capital depend on investment and supply of capital depend on saving. So we can also say that according to this theory, interest rate will determine at the point where saving is equal to investment. In this table, you can see in first column we have rate of interest, and second column we have demand for money, or we can say that investment. In third column we have supply of money, or we can say the saving. At 3% interest rate, our demand for money is 60 and supply for money also 60. So we can say that 3% interest rate, demand for capital is equal to supply of capital. So 3% interest rate is our equilibrium interest rate, because here demand for capital is equal to supply of capital. In this diagram, you can see on x-axis we have quantities of capital, and y-axis we have interest rate. This II curve represent our investment curve, or we can say that this II curve represent our demand for money. This SS curve represent our saving curve, or we can say the SS curve represent our supply of capital. At this E point, saving is equal to investment, or we can say that E point is the demand for money is equal to supply of money. So this E is our equilibrium interest rate. Now we are going to talk about criticisms of this theory. First criticism is indeterminate theory. According to this theory, investment and saving only depend on interest rate, but this is not true. Saving also depend on income and investment also depend on marginal efficiency of capital. Next criticism is narrow concept of supply of capital. According to this theory, a supply of capital only depend on saving, but it ignore bank credit and disholding also part of supply of capital. Next criticism is long term. According to this theory, interest rate will determine at the point where demand for capital will equal to supply of capital at long time period, but Keynes give importance to short time period, not long time period. Next criticism, it ignores borrow for consumption. According to this theory, people borrow money from banks for investment purpose, but people also borrow for consumption, but this theory ignores borrow for consumption. Next criticism is neutrality of money. According to this theory, change in demand or supply for money will not affect interest rate, but this is not true. When money supply change or money demand change, interest rate will be affected. This is all about classical theory of interest. I think you got it, and thank you so much for watching this video. Bye, take care.